This shocking story begins with a group preparing to perform their entertaining show inside a hotel named Hell House. In fact, this is a horror show that everyone loves. However, when all the group members are inside the hotel preparing for their show, we learn that the next day, when their show was supposed to launch, all the group members' dead bodies were found inside the hotel. This news spread everywhere, and soon a rescue team arrived to take the dead bodies away. It was reported that the deaths were caused by gas leaks on the set. However, this reason wasn't the real one, and no one had any idea what actually happened to them. After the incident, a short video is shown, featuring many people and reporters entering the dangerous hotel and describing everything. There were many bloodstains on the ground, especially in the basement where human bones were found. What dangerous thing happened here remains a mystery that no one has been able to solve to this day. We see a journalist discussing that this hotel is indeed very haunted and that whatever dangerous entity resides there is responsible for the deaths of all those people. Next, we are introduced to a girl named Diana, who, along with her entire group, is heading toward the same Hell House hotel. They have decided to uncover the mystery of what really happened to all those people in the hotel. Diana is approached by a girl named Sarah, which is surprising because Sarah is one of the few who survived, meaning she was one of the group members who were supposed to have died. When Diana asks her, Sarah reveals that she barely escaped and hands over all the video footage related to that day to Diana. Diana and her group start playing and watching the videos one by one. We then see the time of that fateful day when Sarah was going to shoot the horror show with all her group members in that haunted hotel. They were looking for a location that was already haunted. Sarah has a good friend named Alex, who is the leader of the entire horror show. But no one asks him anything before doing any work. Now their entire team was ready, and they headed toward Hell House. They had people available to set up everything along with cameras, and soon Sarah, Alex, and his entire team entered the hotel. It was evident that the hotel was extremely haunted, and this was exactly the kind of scene they needed for their show. Alex started to feel pleased because they wouldn't have to work too hard to create horror scenes, as everything was already so old and scary that anyone could relate to their horror scene. Everyone inside began checking things out to see what was where. However, Sarah and her team genuinely felt scared, as they sensed that someone was nearby. But Alex clearly stated that this was not the case at all. He believed this place was perfect for them and predicted that once their horror movie was released, they would get a lot of viewership. Alex went upstairs to the attic while talking to his friends, but suddenly he started hearing some noises coming from behind. Following the sounds, when he turned his camera, something strange was recorded. Upon viewing the recording, they realized that a dark shadow was standing to the side, wearing a black hoodie. No one knew who this shadow was or where it came from, only Alex was aware of this. Therefore, he didn't share this information with his team. Alex dismissed all these occurrences as an optical illusion, but the shocking part came when they traveled to a room where dark magic items were stored. The walls were marked with strange ritual signs that looked very dangerous. However, none of them understood that this was a warning to leave before terrible events began to occur. In that scary place, many Bibles were lying around, and there was a lot of black magic paraphernalia present. After seeing these things, everyone except Alex began to feel frightened. However, Alex still insisted that all of this might just serve as props for their shoot. He believed they should focus on continuing their show instead of paying attention to those things. At this point, Alex was the leader of the entire show. That's why whatever he said had to be done by the other employees. Alex had set up cameras all over the room because he wanted the scenes in his horror show to be completely natural. Several clown mannequins were brought in, which might help to create a frightening atmosphere. Cameras were fixed in every location except the basement because they were short one camera. Therefore, Alex asked one of his mechanics to stay in the basement, where he would perform his part of the script. Everyone was assigned their roles regarding how they were to act and how they were to express fear. However, shortly after, they all began to feel paranormal activities occurring. Doors would close by themselves, and they would see a black shadow. The mechanic in the basement was blissfully unaware, enjoying himself as he undressed, not knowing that a shadow was watching him from behind. However, when the mechanic did notice, he thought it was his teammate, Sarah, trying to scare him. By this time, the entire show had not yet started, but as they say, the atmosphere of fear doesn't announce itself. Everyone was experiencing little things that made them genuinely frightened. The next day, we see Alex bringing along some actors and actresses who would work in his show. One of the actresses was named Athena. When Athena heard about the hotel, she began to tell her director, Alex, that there was a very famous story related to this hotel, which is why no one comes here. Alex was unaware of these things, so he asked Athena about it. Athena replied that several years ago, something strange began happening with the hotel's owner. The hotel owner would bring many family members and people into the hotel and perform some bizarre rituals with them. It is said that the hotel owner had connections with a cult group that was part of the Illuminati. This organization was known for dealing with paranormal activities and making pacts with the devil. Every day, dead bodies would be recovered from that hotel. But no one goes to him. Despite so many cases, no one arrests the hotel owner. Many people began to fear him because he had powers of black magic. After some investigation, it was discovered that the owner wanted to open the door to hell, but there was an ancient demon named Abaddon protecting the door. This demon was not afraid of any of this and continued his rituals to open the door to hell. He needed some unknown type of powers to manipulate people, and these powers could only be acquired after completing his ritual. He had sacrificed many innocent lives for this ritual, which is why the house was haunted. However, Alex did not believe a word Athena said. He began to say that these were just stories and that nothing real could ever happen. They needed to focus on their work. So, everyone went back to work, but the mechanic who was in the basement was genuinely seeing something strange. He heard odd noises coming from different corners of the house, and when he went to investigate those sounds, he suddenly saw the clown mannequin that had moved from its place to another spot, standing in a very strange manner. The mechanic was scared by this and wondered how this could happen. He tried to reassure himself that it was nothing, but as soon as he turned his gaze back toward the clown, it was facing him and laughing. After that, the clown started running straight towards the basement. The mechanic was so frightened that he didn't know what to do. He thought maybe it was his teammates trying to prank him, so he bravely went into the basement to find the clown. But instead, he saw not one but 3 clown mannequins with real blood all over them. They were literally shaking, and seeing this terrified the mechanic so much that he ran out of the basement. He was very frightened and rushed to his team to explain what had happened. However, it was obvious that Alex was so neutral that he didn't believe any of the strange stories. Because of this, the others were also forced to ignore these things, even though they were feeling paranormal activities. Alex's behavior clearly showed how selfish he was. He only cared about completing his project, even if it cost someone their life. He had no concern for his employees at all. Now, one employee named Joe was heading toward the basement to check all the systems when he saw the same clown standing like a statue. He got really scared for a moment, but when he went closer to touch it, he realized it was just a statue. Joe immediately brought the clown mannequin down to the basement and placed it next to the other 2 mannequins. He was feeling very scared at that moment, but all 3 of them were just statues. As he was about to leave, he noticed Sarah standing to one side, mumbling some strange words. When he approached her and brought her to her senses, she looked very frightened and couldn't remember what she was doing. At this point, Joe and Sarah were trying to contact Alex because something felt off. The most shocking moment came when they turned around and saw that the 3 clown mannequins had disappeared. They didn't understand how or why this had happened. For the moment, Joe thought about getting Sarah out of there, but as they moved a little closer to the dining table, they saw some food laid out, and right in front of the table stood the same dangerous clown that was welcoming them in a terrifying manner. This frightened both Sarah and Joe, causing them to run straight to find Alex, but they couldn't find him anywhere. When they entered Alex's room, they found a book that had fallen from the basement. When Sarah and Joe checked the book, they found some strange rituals and symbols that they were instructed to follow. At that moment, Sarah somehow managed to find Alex, who had gone outside to get some equipment and was now returning. He warmly embraced Sarah, who then explained everything to him about what had happened to them in the basement. She told Alex that the house was very frightening and that she wanted to leave. However, Alex, after investing so much in the project, couldn't just shut down the show based on everyone's strange stories. So, he reassured Sarah and continued with the project. Meanwhile, the mechanic was thinking that they shouldn't be doing this show because he was genuinely feeling paranormal activities inside the house. He believed that if people came there, their lives could be in danger. Therefore, the mechanic wanted the show to be cancelled. Just then, he suddenly started hearing some noises. When he opened his door, he saw a lady sitting in front of him, staring at him in a very eerie manner. The lady had very dangerous-looking eyes that seemed to be fixed on the mechanic. At first, he thought it was just a trick of his eyes, so he quickly went to bed and covered himself with a blanket. However, after a little while, when he peeked out from under the blanket, he saw the same lady right in front of him. Without any delay, she attacked the mechanic and started hurting him. The signal cut off right here, and his camera stopped working. Since the mechanic hadn't been seen for a long time, one of his colleagues went to look for him. He even checked the mechanic's room, but he wasn't there. Only the mechanic's clothes were left behind. His friend started to worry about him, so he went straight to tell his manager, Alex. Both Alex and the friend began searching for the mechanic everywhere. However, despite checking every room, they couldn't find him. Now, the basement was the only place left to check. Suddenly, Alex heard some noises coming from the basement, prompting both of them to hurry down there. Upon entering the basement, they saw the same 3 clown statues. However, the clowns' heads were positioned in a very unnatural way, which Alex noted in his mind. As they moved forward a bit, they found the mechanic sitting with his head down. He wasn't saying anything, as if his whole body was under someone else's control. The mechanic's friend tried to get him up, but then Alex started saying that it must be some kind of trick by the mechanic. He was just trying to scare them and was acting. However, Alex's attention was drawn to the statues, whose heads had completely turned, as if they were continuously watching both of them. The mechanic's friend got very scared and began shouting at Alex, saying that this house had seemed haunted to him from the beginning, and that Alex had forced them to work there. The mechanic's friend immediately ran out of there. One of Alex's associates went after him to convince him, explaining that even if the house felt haunted, they had designed it this way to create fear. He added that if they were also feeling scared, it meant they were on the right track. Alex's friend offered some advantages to the mechanic's colleague, which persuaded him to continue with the work. Preparations for their show were now in full swing, but the shocking part was that since the mechanic had returned to his room, he had been sleeping continuously on the bed and hadn't woken up even once, and his behavior had started to change. Only a few days were left for the show's launch, and Alex's entire team was ready with their scripts to scare those who dared to enter the house. Outside, there were many people lined up, eager to experience it, and this was the best moment for Alex to handle such a large audience. Alex and his friend went outside and began gathering all the people who had come to be part of the show. Everyone was given their respective scripts according to which they would act. Alex had made all the necessary arrangements inside the hotel and had positioned his main lead actor in front of the markings where the black magic items were located. The employees had donned their costumes to scare the audience, and after all this, Alex stepped out from the basement, gradually bringing in all the people who had come to participate. They began entering the house, but suddenly it became clear that the actors dressed as clowns were running away in fear. In the basement, they had seen something strange, causing them to scream loudly, which prompted Alex to go check it out. There, he found an actress standing in front of the markings, and below her, a large mark formed, opening up a massive cave. This was nothing other than the gate to hell, which, upon opening, pulled the lady inside. Many shadows began to emerge from the gate of hell, attacking everyone present. The people inside were terrified and begging for help. Alex understood that these haunted occurrences weren't caused by him, but when it was Alex's turn, the doors closed. He entered the house and was heading towards the basement when he encountered the mechanic's friend. They decided that they had to save the actress at all costs. However, as soon as they entered the basement, Alex too was being pulled towards the gate of hell. In no time, many dark shadows had arrived, wanting to complete their ritual to protect the gate of hell. Sarah was so scared that she started running outside and managed to escape. But Alex was forcibly restrained as someone began to throw a rope around his neck, which he couldn't control. Before long, Alex met his demise there, and all his companions were killed in the same manner. The scene then transitioned to the present time, where Sarah was giving an interview to Diana. Sarah explained that this story ended here, but there were some things she needed to mention later. She started to leave and told Diana that if she wanted to interview her again, she should come to her room, where all the truth would be revealed. Diana needed to conduct her interview, so she went straight to the hotel with her cameraman, where Sarah had mentioned her room. However, the receptionist informed her that they had no customer by the name of Sarah, and the room number she provided didn't exist. This left Diana a bit shocked, and she began to think that perhaps Sarah hadn't mentioned this hotel but the old one instead, where so many murders had taken place. Now, Diana decided that she would go to that place with her cameraman and question Sarah. However, in reality, a video clip reveals that when Alex was being killed inside the hotel, Sarah was there as well, having fainted. After a while, when everyone was dead, Sarah opened her eyes and slowly started moving forward. But then, she came face to face with the mechanic. Seeing him, Sarah hugged him, but the mechanic showed no expression and instead began to attack her. Sarah's face had become completely unrecognizable. After some time, she saw that a demon had appeared right in front of her, controlling the mechanic, who then cut his own throat with his own hands. With Sarah's impending death, everyone in that place was killed. But the question arises, who was the Sarah that had come to meet Diana? In fact, this was a spirit sent to gather people and compel them toward the hotel so that the demons within the hotel could continue to receive souls. Diana, influenced by this, entered the hotel with her cameraman. They traveled through the hotel until they reached a room. Upon opening the door, they found Sarah sitting there. But as soon as she turned around, Sarah's face was completely disfigured. She quickly stood up, and many dark shadows began to approach her. All these shadows advanced towards Diana and her cameraman, capturing them and absorbing their souls as well. This way, the demons remained immortal by absorbing people's souls, and our story ends here.